Welcome back. In this video, I will be going over how to use my bulk spawner editing utility. I have released a video previously going over how to use this utility, but since then I've added some new features, so because of that I'll be going over all the features of this utility in detail in this video. This utility is made for Java Edition version 1.16, but can work with limited functionality in previous versions. In the description of this video, I have a link to the GitHub repository for this utility where you can download it and read the documentation. So let's get started with how to register spawners into this system. The first and simplest way to register a spawner is to right-click a spawner with a debug stick. A debug stick, if you don't already know, is an item that you can only obtain with the give command. It's usually used to modify block states of blocks with block states, like logs or stairs. If you register a spawner, you'll see a name tag appear above the registered spawner. All registered spawners will have a name tag showing the ID of the spawner if you're holding a debug stick and are within 10 blocks of the spawner. Registering a new spawner with a debug stick will also give you a command block that can place another spawner with that ID. The lore of the command block displays general information about the spawner, including all configuration values and spawn potentials. If you need to register spawners in bulk, there are two search options. There's a basic search feature that searches for all spawners in a 9x9 chunk square centered on you. All spawners it registered will be displayed in chat with the location and ID of the spawner. The recommended render distance for running this is 10 or greater. If you're on a server, you may need to check the config file to see what the render distance of the server is. You can run this search function by either manually running the function bse:/search, or you can trigger the score bse.request to -53. There is an additional search option where you can scan a selected area for spawners. To use this, you need to trigger the bse.request score to -19, or alternatively, you can run the function bse:/large_search. When you run this for the first time, you'll receive a special item called bse wand. This item allows you to make a selection similar to how the world edit selection wand works. You can make a selection by right-clicking two separate blocks with the selection wand. Once you've made your selection, you can click the message that is sent when you receive the wand. You can also trigger the bse.request score to -19 again, or you can run the function bse:/large_search. Running the large search does clear all force-loaded chunks in your selection, so if you have important chunks you need to keep force-loaded, I recommend having a way to restore them or just not using the large search function. If you want to manually enter your selection, you can enter the coordinates into the scoreboard it uses by setting the values you can see on the screen now. So now that I've covered how to register spawners, let me go over how to give yourself the command block to place new ones. If you want to get the placer for the spawner you are looking at, you can right-click an already registered spawner with a debug stick to receive the command block. Alternatively, you can trigger the score bse.request to the ID of the spawner you want, and you will receive the command block. Next is how to update spawners. This is the core use and namesake of the system. If you need to update a type of spawner for any reason, you can modify a single spawner with the changes you need, then you can crouch and right-click the modified spawner with a debug stick, and it will update all spawners matching that ID to the new version. You can update the spawner by any means. As long as you stay within 10 blocks of where the spawner was, the marker will remain there, so you can break the spawner if necessary. Now this cannot update spawners that aren't currently loaded, so in order to update all spawners in the world with that ID, you will have to load them. You don't need to interact with the spawners in any way, they just need to be within your render distance. If you want to remove a spawner, all you need to do is break the spawner and walk away. The marker entity will automatically be removed. If you want to change a specific spawner into a spawner with a different ID, all you need to do is break the spawner and place the placer command block in its place. This will modify the ID of the spawner at that position into the one you placed. And lastly is uninstalling this utility. Since this utility is made to edit spawners during map development, it has the ability to be removed without a trace. All you need to do is run the function bse:/uninstall. This will remove all associated data and scoreboards. The entities that mark the spawner's positions will disappear on their own when they are loaded, so you don't need to bother removing them manually. Once you have run the uninstall function, you are free to delete or disable the datapack from the world. If you reload at any point after running the uninstall function, you will need to run it again before you delete or disable the datapack. Well, hopefully that covers how to use this utility in enough detail. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section of this video. If you discover any glitches or problems, file an issue in the GitHub repository and I'll try to get it resolved as soon as possible. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will catch y'all next time.